Those of you who have watched my other videos recognize this mower. We had done extensive repairs to it from the owner running it into things. Remember this view right here. It did not look like this the next time it came in. So he had accidentally dropped it in a ditch and ran it into the end of a culvert. It was a mess. Here's the lid, which we had spent quite a while replacing the front angle on, and we've got to do it again. We are going to use the chain binder technique again to pull this area back into place as much as we can. Earlier this morning I had picked up this anvil I found on Facebook and put it right to use. Forged this little loop to weld onto the front edge. As you see here, I am welding it on, hooking up the chain binder, and we chained it up to the tongue, and we pull. We reset, and we pull some more. A little bit of beating and another set of pulling. And we're getting close. So now we add some heat so we can stretch it back into place a little easier. After I get it up to temperature, Larry starts beating on it with the hammers and cranking on the binder. We finally get it back into place as close as we could with the binder. Now I'm using the plasma cutter to gouge the welds off for that loop that I had welded on. Not quite enough off yet. Zip a little bit more and pow. Clean up the edge, and now proceed to gouge out all the welds holding this front edge. Now that we've got it bent as much as we can into place, I'm going to cut this front section of sheet metal off, and then we will take it over to the anvil and smooth it out a little bit better. So here we pry it off, and this was right after getting it cut loose, so it's still a little toasty. So here's Larry using our who knows how old of anvil that I just recently got, and he's smoothing this piece out. As he's handling it, his hands are getting a little bit warm.
It's really, really hot.
Say that again.
It's really, really hot.
But he keeps at it. And if the chain binders and hammers don't work, we just sit on something to straighten it out. We have this now ready for the piece that we hammered flat. We're ready to start putting it back in. Get it tacked up here, lined up as best we can along this edge. Either using a 4-ounce hammer or a 4-pound hammer. And weld her up. So if you're running a mower, look back every once in a while and just make sure the thing isn't on fire. That happened here. If you notice this seal, we had to replace that seal right there for that gearbox because it was leaking any oil you put in right on out. This was what was left of the original. He had wrapped up a bunch of grass and this cover around the shaft there and had caught that area on fire and burned out the seal. We also repaired and flattened out this plate here that holds the hydraulic hoses. It was bent all sorts of shapes. Here's the finished product of the area that took the most damage. And the rest of it is still holding up pretty good from the massive rebuild that we had done just a week or two earlier. This door here had sustained some damage and was bent a little bit. The pin right there we had to replace because it was bent almost to the point of breaking, and when we started straightening it out it did break. But this piece right there was all bent up. We had to straighten that on the anvil. And now for the lid. We didn't get any footage of repairing the lid. It took quite a bit of time. But as you see, there's a new angle iron there on that end. Across the leading edge was mostly the piece that we had put in before, except for a section right here in the middle where it was bent up the most. We just cut that out and made it to where it bolts together, so if he does hit something again and bends up part of it, it's just in pieces, so we can just replace parts. Well, it all fits together nice. Looks like it ought to last him for the rest of this season, but that's what I thought the last time we got it done. Well, signing off again. I better get back to fixing, fabricating, or just setting something on fire.